Welcome to Council Action. My name is Elizabeth Couts. I'm the mayor of the city of Burnsville. Council Action is a summary of the council's meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd, 2019. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. at 100 Civic Center Parkway in the council chambers. We begin our meetings with a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. And then we move on to our announcements. And our announcements have to do with all of our upcoming meetings. Council meetings are scheduled for Tuesday, December 17th at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, January 7th at 5:30 p.m. We have work sessions also scheduled for Tuesday, December 10th at 5:30 p.m. and Tuesday, January 14th at 5:30 p.m. All meetings are held in the council chambers. And then we move on to citizens' comments, and no one appeared before the City Council to speak to any items, and there were no emergency items to be added to the final agenda. Now we move on to the consent agenda. The first item on the consent agenda, we approved all of the minutes of our past meetings. We also approved claims listings. We approved and adopted the 2020 legislative agenda. And we also approved a resolution designating the polls places for 2020 elections. We also authorized the payment for enterprise license agreement for ESRI, for ESRI, for Geographic Information System. That's our GIS software. We also approved and authorized the 2019 renewal for the Electronic Content Management System annual software maintenance and support. We also authorized the Year 2 payment of a 3-year Microsoft Enterprise Agreement. And we also approved the Joint Powers Agreement to conduct traffic safety projects with Dakota County and neighboring cities. We also approved a certification of the delinquent water and sewer accounts to the property taxes. And we approved the 2020 grant agreement with Dakota County for the Community Waste Abatement Funds to operate the recycling program. We also authorized the 2020 emergency repairs of the water and sewer infrastructure. We also authorized the EPA Risk and Resilience Assessment and Emergency Response Plan for the potable water system. And we approved and accepted the quotes and awarded the contract for the well 5 roof replacement. We also authorized the project and ordered the plans and specifications and ordered the advertisement for bids for the 2020 pressure reducing station replacements. We also authorized the project and ordered the plans and specifications and add for the bids and the 2020 Wells Rehabilitation Project. We also authorized the Joint Powers Agreement amendment with Dakota County for the final design and easement acquisition for the Lake Marion Regional Trail Greenway, Keller segment. We also approved and ordered the 2020 signal modification and adopted the resolution to approve the Joint Powers Agreement with Dakota County for the project. And we approved and ordered the project and plans and specifications for the concrete elements rehabilitation project. We also authorized the 2020 road salt purchase, and we authorized and approved the 2020 fuel purchase. We also approved and authorized the purchase within the 2020 Vehicle and Equipment Replacement Program. And we authorized and approved the resolution approving the comprehensive plan amendments related to land use and tax changes for the Center Village. And we approved the application of Hampton Companies, LLC for a preliminary and final plat of a 1-lot commercial subdivision of Sweet Living of Burnsville and Plan Unit Development Amendment for a residential health care facility used at 1880 134th Street East. We approved the PUD amendment, the preliminary and final plat, and we adopted the findings of fact and the ordinance. And that was the consent agenda. And now we move on to the regular agenda. The first item on the regular agenda was a public hearing, and this is the ordinance establishing the 2020 fees and charges. That item was presented. I opened the public hearing. No one spoke to the item, and the item was approved. The next item was an application for the City of Burnsville for an amendment to City Code Title 10, Zoning Chapter 7, General Provisions, Section 18, Screening and Buffer Areas, Chapter 12, R1, One Family Residential District, and Chapter 14, R2, Two Family Residential Districts of the Burnsville City Code, to modify screening requirements for trash and recycling receptacles in single-family and two-family residential areas. This item was presented, and we did have members of our community who wanted to speak to this item. They were in opposition to the changes, and we listened to their remarks and their concerns. They had photographs, and I asked that you tune in to the City Council meeting. We arrived at a compromise and will continue to monitor this change as we move forward. And also we'll make sure that we let people know through our community bulletin when we send it out about the change and what the new and amended requirements are. So if you want to learn more about it, please tune into the City Council meeting and hear about it and the exchange with our citizens. And so it was approved with the recommendations that we received from the Planning Commission. The next item was a resolution to adopt the 2020 budget and to establish the 2020 property tax levy and to adopt the 2024 and 2020 to 2024 capital improvement plan. That item was presented. We have been talking about this. It's been a 6-month project with the budget, and each of these pieces were in our work sessions, and the budget was on the website, and we wanted to make sure that everybody understood what was going on, being very transparent. That item was presented, and it was approved. All 3 provisions in the different resolutions with regard to the budget, the levy, and the capital improvement plan. I then recessed the Burnsville City Council meeting so the Economic Development Authority meeting can convene. That meeting was called to order, and there were no additions to the final agenda. The consent agenda had 1 item, and that was the approval of minutes, and that item was approved. 1 item on the regular agenda was a resolution to adopt the Economic Development Authority 2020 property tax levy. That item was presented and approved. There were no miscellaneous items, and the EDA meeting was adjourned. I then reconvened the Burnsville City Council meeting, and we ratified the resolution that the Economic Development Authority approved, and we adopted and approved that item. There were no other items to come before the City Council, and the meeting was then adjourned. I'd like to remind everyone that council action replays at 6 a.m. and noon, 6 p.m. and midnight, and City Council meetings replay at various times on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And I encourage you to watch the following to see how you can view past meetings and current meetings via the internet at www.burnsvillemn.gov. I'm Elizabeth Kautz. I'm the mayor of the City of Burnsville. Thank you for joining me. Continue to make a difference.